Welcome to Inside the Film Room. I'm Chris Nurgle alongside head football coach Will Healey. The Governors captured the Sergeant York Trophy in a 35-28 win over Tennessee Tech. Coach, why was this victory so significant?
Well, it was a big goal of ours to win the Sergeant York Trophy, and I thought it was something that we needed to talk about. I like adding pressure to football games that we're playing here, and so it was a big goal of ours to be able to beat the three in-state schools. You know, Tennessee Tech, UT Martin, and Tennessee State is a big deal for our program. I thought it was another significant step just to show how far our program had come. It was a game where we were physically manhandled a year ago, and we had a chance to try to show what type of progress that we've made and what type of gains we've made in the weight room, and I thought our guys did a really good job of doing that on Saturday. So, it was playoff week number 3 for us. This is playoff week number 4. It's win or go home, and I thought our kids came out and played really well early, had a lot of energy early, and still got to finish the game off a little bit better than what we did. But proud of our effort, and to win an OVC game on the road is a big deal.
Absolutely it is. And I know if you couldn't ask for a much better production from your offense. Over 500 yards for the day, almost 3 100-yard rushers, 423 on the ground. How is this offense able to exploit defenses?
I felt really good about the depth we had in the backfield. So even not having Quintel, I still felt good about how we would be able to run the football. I think that offensive group altogether is starting to mesh really well, and they're kind of coming into their own, and at the right time, So I feel great about what we're doing up front. I think we're talented up front. We did a really good job on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, but especially on the offensive line, we created really good holes. I thought we blocked extremely well, the best we've done all year on the perimeter at the receiver position. DJ Montgomery had some huge blocks. Correll Samari has blocked really well all year long. So we did things to open up some big plays by how well we blocked on the perimeter. Our tight ends played a lot better. I think you got 5, 6 freshmen that are on the field at the same time, and they're starting to look like sophomores, and that's what you hope happens by this time of the year. And quarterbacks played well, running backs ran the ball extremely hard, and we had a productive day.
You touched on it. When coaches turn on the film of Austin Peay, they are likely to notice the Governors are winning the battle in the trenches. Your defensive line is number 2 in the conference in sacks. Jason Williams, OVC leader. And the offensive line shares the top spot in the conference in giving up the fewest sacks. How does that translate into winning formula for the Govs this season?
Well, I think that's where games are won, at the line of scrimmage. And, I think the biggest difference in our defense from last year to this year is how we are on the defensive line. And it starts with the 2 guys inside. Our defensive tackles have played great football all year long and have been able to stop the run, and then it's allowed those defensive ends to rush the passer like they have. I thought Nate Howard played his best game by far. I think Jason Williams has an unbelievable motor and got back to the way we felt like he was capable of playing. Sean Whittinghill did some really good things. So those guys inside allowed those guys outside to rush the passer. I thought we covered pretty well for the most part, but offensively on the offensive line, we go against a really good defensive line at all times. So I think those groups together, just based on how much we've improved in those 2 areas, have made each other better by going against each other in practice every day and in fall camp. And I think we're winning games because we're winning battles up front.
They have some fun personalities as well. Now, Austin Peay set the tone for the ball game and let the Golden Eagles know it would be a war. The first play from scrimmage, Malik Davis recovers a turnover that the offense capitalized on. What did you see from an effort standpoint from your defense?
Well, how about the video I saw with Theron Hodges saying we're going to create a turnover on the first play on defense?
First play of the game on defense, turnover.
So I think he thinks he's some type of psychic, but I thought we came out and we played hard early on. Creating the turnover on the first play of the game was a big deal, and then for us to get 7 points off of it, unlike we did when we were at home versus SEMO, was also very encouraging. So. I thought we played hard. We rallied to the football. Again, we gave up too many big plays, and schematically we're not as disciplined as we need to be at times with where our guys need to be and where our eyes need to be. But I thought we played really hard, and I think those guys are, especially those young guys, are starting to come into form. Our young corners played well. James Tobin's been playing great football. Cordell played really well Saturday. So that group's improving, and I feel really good about the direction they're heading.
The locker room after the game, I'm told, was pretty exciting. This is the first trophy this team has won. What was it like to celebrate with this team?
I think sometimes coaches can be so frustrated with how the game finishes that they forget how difficult it is to win. It was hard for us to win a football game last year. It's been hard for us to win football games this year. I don't take any win for granted while we're here. Our guys need to enjoy them. They've worked really hard for them, and that's why they work so hard, is so that they can enjoy Saturday. So the opportunity to go in there and celebrate a win with a road game, to win the Sergeant York Trophy, with that group of seniors, with those freshmen who believed in us whenever they picked this place, is really special, and I don't ever want to take one of those moments for granted. Our coaches have a blast, our players have a blast. Dumping Powerade, throwing water everywhere, do our hoorah chant. So that's when you should be able to have fun. You go and win a road football game in this conference to get to 5-1 in the league, and you should be able to go enjoy a locker room experience, and that's what we did Saturday.
I agree. Coming up, it's the Fuse Fireworks Assistant Coach's Corner. We go one-on-one with Carter Crutchfield. Welcome back. It's the Fuse Fireworks Assistant Coach's Corner. I'm with Recruiting Coordinator and Director of Football Operations, Carter Crutchfield. You played at Tennessee Tech. Last year, the Golden Eagles dominated the game. What did the win mean to you going back to your alma mater?
It meant a lot. I think anytime you get a chance to go back to your alma mater, it's a lot of fun. Got to see some familiar faces and some old teammates, and that was a lot of fun. But ultimately, when the ball's kicked off, you're there for one reason, and that was to get a win and to come home with the Sergeant York Trophy. And I was really excited that we got to do that.
It's a big deal. Now, you've been part of putting together a top 10 recruiting class and a #1 recruiting class in FCS. What do you feel this staff has done to make this happen?
I think it starts at the top with us. Coach Healey has done such a good job with just kind of laying the vision and the foundation for our coaches, and then I think that trickles down to the players. And our coaches, I think what separates us, we've got academics, we've got facilities, we've got Under Armour, but I think the biggest thing for us is our coaches do such a good job developing relationships, and I think that starts with Coach Healey, and I think that's what separates us is just building relationships with these high school prospects.
You're on the sidelines during the game. What goes through your head when you see these young freshmen and sophomores that you recruited have success and win ball games?
I think especially these first two signing classes are always going to have a special place in my heart, just because they bought into something that wasn't necessarily established. They came in and they bought into what we were selling and what this place could be. It was kind of a sleeping giant, and we knew that, and I think they saw that. And so for them, when I'm standing on the sidelines and I get to watch these guys succeed on Saturdays, not only individually but ultimately as a team, I think that's what's obviously most important. It's just a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed watching them play this year.
I know you can't talk specifics, but how are the wins helping the Govs recruit for the future?
I think anytime you win, obviously it makes everything a lot easier. But as a coaching staff, I think we're still going to recruit the same type of kids that we've always recruited. We're going to evaluate the same way, but we're always going to be recruiting against really, really good schools. But I think obviously now that we're winning, is going to only make that easier, and look forward to signing another great class this year.
What made you decide to pursue this as a career, knowing it's a significant sacrifice of your time?
When I graduated from Tennessee Tech, I had a feeling I wanted to work in athletics. I majored in business and decided that I'm going to give this athletics thing a try. was blessed with an opportunity at Chattanooga in football operations. I knew from the start that I did not want to coach. That was not for me, but I wanted to be around it on a day-to-day basis. And so I was blessed with that opportunity, and I like the operations side of it because it's it's logistics. It's kind of a puzzle, and that's a lot of fun for me trying to figure out how to make those things work. But ultimately, I think for me, I wanted to get into it because I wanted to be a positive outlet for these guys on a day-to-day basis. We say that the college years are the most influential time of these kids' lives, and that range from 18 to 22. And for me, I just want to be a consistent, positive outlet for these guys on a day-to-day basis, and I hope that that's what I do. So.
Now, I know there are still many goals yet to be accomplished, but when you think back from the day you took over organizing all the details that no one really even sees to today, what are you most proud of?
I think it starts from when we first got hired here. I think Coach Healey and I had a vision, and administration basically gave us the green light to act on that vision. And it started with, traveling the right way. We stay in the nicest hotels. We eat the best food that money can buy. We travel in the nicest buses. We switched to Under Armour. And I think, obviously we faced some adversity last year, but the fact that, we're actually winning games now and seeing that success is just kind of validation for the administration, for our coaching staff that never wavered despite last year and struggling a little bit. And now all that stuff has kind of come to fruition. And I'm just really proud to be a part of this university and this coaching staff.
It's been special. Coming up, the Bojangles Player Spotlight. This week, it's Trey Nation. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Bojangles Player Spotlight. I'm standing next to Trey Nation. Trey, what a night for you. A career high, 70-plus yards. What do you attribute that success?
Well, I feel like we really came together as a team, and the offensive line played lights out, in my opinion. And we had good game preparation, and I feel like we just executed.
You're a humble guy. I love that. So now you're a sophomore coming out of high school. You were the nation's #2 ranked fullback. You began your career at Illinois, had 11 carries as a freshman. How did you make your way to Austin Peay?
Well, I really wanted to come to Austin Peay out of high school, but my dad was just like, let's give Illinois a shot and let's see how we like it. And I wasn't very happy, so my dad kept a strong relationship with Coach Healey and Coach Thurman and came back to home.
And what makes Austin Peay feel like home for you?
Well, Coach Healey reminds me a lot of my high school coach, and he's like a father figure to me, and he always stresses good body language, and I feel like he brings out the better in me.
Very encouraging. Now, this has to be a fun offense to be a part of as a running back. It's no secret that the run game is the bread and butter of the offense. There's a lot of competition at your spot. What have you learned from your fellow teammates?
Well, Ahmad, he runs the ball hard, and I love watching him run. It excites me. And so when I go out there, I try to run the ball as hard as I can, and can tell he's really exciting to watch too. He makes a lot of big plays. He runs up out a lot of tackles. And when I get in the game, I try to make big plays too. And Prince, he's an excellent blocker. I mean, I feel like he gives it all every time he's on the field. And so I try to block as best as I can and do whatever I can to help my team.
Well, you're very humble, so I'm going to brag on you. You play with a lot of emotion. Where does that come from?
Well, growing up, my dad was always hard on me, and I have 5 brothers. 4 of us grew up together, and we played football. And so, like, if we had a bad day of practice or something, my dad would make us line up in the yard, and we'd have to hit. So, he was hard on us, but I feel like, well, it has helped me in the long run.
Now, one of your brothers plays at Jacksonville State. How was lining up across the ball from him earlier this year?
It was very exciting. We talked about it all week. We had little conversations, and he's a good big brother, so it wasn't a lot of trash talk. He was just really encouraging me, and I was really excited. That was our first time playing against each other. We played together my freshman year in high school, and it was just really exciting for me.
So were y'all in a play at the same time a couple of times, maybe?
Yes, ma'am. On kickoff return, the ball bounced off the ground and went up into the air, and he actually ended up making the tackle, and I had the ball in my hands.
That's pretty fun. Now, right now, we're sitting at 6-1. It seems like everybody is just bought in. There's a lot of guys who play roles in the team that just don't get a lot of credit, but they just don't seem to be worried about anything but winning. What do you think has led to this selfless mindset?
I mean, I feel like we're really like a well-bonded team, and a lot of my teammates they put their selfish like feelings aside. So like it really doesn't bother them not to get as many catches, not to get as many carries, and not to get as much playing time. So I feel like they put all their selfish issues behind.
That's awesome, and y'all having a fun season. Coming up, Coach Healey previews Eastern Kentucky. Stay with us. We're back on Inside the Film Room. I caught up with Trey Nation. He's been getting playing time. Kentel Williams goes down. Your running back step up. He racks up over 70 yards. What has Trey added this season to what you've already built on offense?
Trey was a big get for us. We recruited him hard out of high school. He picks Illinois on signing day, and I think it was still difficult for him to go there versus coming here. I think he fell in love with what could happen here. So, after the first semester, he calls us and says, I'm interested in leaving, and sends us his release. And it really was, I think, where his heart was the entire time. So Trey is extremely talented. I mean, had a great high school career at Leeds High School in Birmingham, very highly recruited. And I think the things that we needed to help Trey with were just being more consistent. We saw his talent level, we saw his potential, but he needed to be consistent in his practice habits and his preparation habits, and continue to mature. And I think he's done that. He had a great week of preparation last week, and it's fun to see guys take the next step and then be rewarded. Again, I tell them, I hope you would have been the same person even if you wouldn't have had those statistics or gotten those same carries on Saturday. But it's fun to see those guys get that reward. And I felt really good about that running back room for a long time. Now we've added Darrell Rollins-Davis to it. He had a huge run for us on Saturday. It looked like he was shot out of a cannon on the sidelines, and I tried to keep up with him and couldn't do it. But Trey's done some really good things, and I think that running back room as a whole has been very productive, and you got to give a lot of credit to Sean Dawkins for what he's done.
They're a lot of fun. The Governors stay on the road this week. You go to Eastern Kentucky. They are coming off a heartbreaking OT loss to Eastern Illinois. What will they bring to the table?
They are ridiculously talented. I feel like I say it every week and it's a broken record, but this was probably the biggest whooping we took a year ago. And, after we had some momentum from the Mercer and the TSU game, we felt like that we were in a position to go win a game, and they took it to us. And everything that we had done the whole year to start to play with passion and energy, enthusiasm, their coaches did a great job of making sure that they did that week. And we know how talented they are. I mean, you look at their roster and it's insane. I think they're extremely well coached. I think Mark Elder does a great job. You're just kind of waiting on them to hit stride, and when they do, they'll be really scary. I know it'll be a tough place to play. I've played there a couple times when we were at Chattanooga. So it'll be a good road trip for us, and I'm excited about a challenge. This is a really, really good football team, and I'm sure they, are chomping at the bit to knock us off of the pedestal a little bit. And again, this is playoff week 4 for us. So our kids were amazing this morning. So much life and energy. I think so much focus as to what could be accomplished. But this is a big week, and we need to go play really well on the road and have a great week of preparation.
What will the Governors have to do to pick up their 7th win of the season?
I think we got to tackle well. We did not do a great job of tackling a week ago, and we got to make sure that we keep them in front of us, because I think their quarterback throws the ball extremely well. They got some weapons at wide out that can really stretch the field. You know, they got two 250-pound plus backs, so we're going to have to wrap up and gang tackle. You know, offensively, we've got to take care of the football. We cannot have turnovers. We have to establish the line of scrimmage, which I think they're very good with what they do on the defensive side of the ball. And when we take shots, we got to connect. So no different. Our game plan stays the same. We got to win the battle on special teams. They got a punter who's had 2 80-yard plus punts this year. So they're a well-rounded football team, and I know they played extremely well at home, and so our work will be cut out for us. We'll have to play great football to have a chance.
Kickoff is Saturday at 12 o'clock in Richmond, Kentucky. You can watch that on the OVC Digital Network. Then flip over to our social media sites for post-game coverage at Let's Go Peay. Thank you so much for watching Inside the Film Room with Coach Will Healey. I'm Kristen Ergel. We'll see you next time.